any town I've ever been in before. People die or disappear 6 times the national average. And that's just grown-ups. Kids are worse. Way, way worse.
Look, it's all connected by the sewers. That's where it lives. What happened? Bill?
What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I have done one of these movie reviews because I've been doing other stuff, Game of Thrones and stuff. But I had to go see it because it looked really good and it was surprising. And that is 3 It jokes in a row. How many more can I do? We're going to find out. So for those people that don't know, it was originally a book written by Stephen King back in, I think, like 86 or 87. It was really popular. It's also really big. It's like a 1,100 page book that I own and that I've read. And it's okay. And then it was turned into a TV miniseries back in 1991 or 90. It starred John Ritter, and then it's one of Seth Green's first movies as a kid ever. He's awful in it. In fact, all the kids are pretty bad in that. But I think that's just a mixture of the really generic TV direction. But as a kid, it's very haunting. And I think it's the reason why a lot of people in their 30s now are afraid of clowns. And it's one of those movies that you think back on it, and it's got like this nostalgia factor. And you think it's really good. You're like, oh man, like Tim Curry is amazing, as the clown. And you go back and watch it, which I've seen it twice in the last week in preparation for this. And it's awful. It's really bad. It's cringeworthy. I remember talking my friend into watching it and telling him how scary it was, and then him laughing at me halfway through because it's just not scary. It's not scary at all. And the acting is just laughable at times. Once you go into the adult side of the story, it's even worse. Ugh. But Tim Curry is very, very good as a clown. And I wish that we could take this performance and put it now, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So let's just, I'm going to try and break this down into like 2 things here. One, book versus film, and then the new film versus the old film. So for those people who haven't read the book, who don't have a month of their time to sit there and read, it's a huge biopic of evil clowns and space invaders. The book to the TV and the movie version is kind of close. It's the same general overall story, but there's a lot of stuff left out, and there's a lot of stuff that needed to be left out. One of which is probably the most talked about thing amongst all the book readers, and that is there is this kid sex scene that is in the book that is not in either of the films, thank God. But basically, at one point, after the kids have fought the clown monster, they're lost in the sewers, and in order to escape, they have sex with the girl in the group. It's her idea, and she thinks that it'll lift this monster fog haze thing that they've got going on in the brain, and she goes into detail about how she's orgasming, and it's really creepy, and it's got this sexual awakening that Stephen King felt the need to have 12-year-olds having sex, and I'm glad that's not in the book. And there's another scene with the Henry Bowers, who is the main antagonist as a human in the story, who's constantly just a crazy sociopath who's just murdering things the entire film. Actually has a gay sex scene also in the book. With another boy that is 13 or 14 years old, because you needed 2 kid sex scenes in the book apparently. So both those, thankfully, are not in there, and that is a very good plus. But there are some things in the book that should have been in the film. Most notably, Bill is a writer, and that is talked about in the TV film and also in the book. It's not in the new movie for some reason. This kind of plays a part later on of him as an adult. Maybe they'll still talk about it, but it's kind of a big theme of him as a child as well. It's like his escape. Once his brother dies, and his stories about gore and horror and everything, it's basically his way of, it's his coping mechanism for this awful childhood. So that's not in there. They switch a couple things around. Mike is actually the kid in the story who is the person who finds all the facts and all the history and stuff, and they gave that personality trait to Ben for some reason, I guess because Mike needed other made up stuff, which they just totally changed almost his entire background. And then there's this huge storm that also happens in the books and everything, but that's not talked about. Maybe it'll be later on in the story, I'm not sure, but who knows. So, also, the TV movie to the film now, the biggest thing is that there's no gore. There's no gore whatsoever. It's very TV campy, very like cheesy cutaways. It's just... Ugh. But with the new stuff, I say gore, but it's not even really that bloody. It's... there's no really aggressive scenes except for actually the very first scene of Georgie being attacked. That's the only like really gory scene in the entire movie, and even that is not that bad. Moving on, the crux of the entire movie and the entire books are all about these kids, and I think that that is where this film is most successful. It really portrays this Goonies-esque bond amongst all these kids, and that is like, I think that is the best part of the film. All of their interactions together is really fun. A lot of the kids talking back and forth, it feels very natural, and that's not that surprising considering that the kid that plays Beat Richie, who is Seth Green in the first one, is also Mike from Stranger Things. And so everybody who's seen Stranger Things knows that that's the best part of the show, is how natural all the kids are just like around each other. And so he brings a lot of that charisma to this role, and it really, really works. And he's probably the best part of the entire film. And so I'm really looking forward to him in terms of where he takes his career. And speaking of the kids, some of them are much better than the others. A couple, they're not... The ones who are not good are not bad, and they don't ruin the movie, but they don't have this natural acting chops that a couple of the other kids do. I would say that the kid playing Bill, his name is like Jaden Lieberheimer or Lieberhair, I think. I'm probably just like killing that name. He's the lead character as Bill Denbrough, and he's pretty solid throughout. He really conveys his overall comedy well. His monologues are very well timed and very well delivered. And then Jackie Dillon Grazer, I think I'm saying his name. He plays Eddie, who is a hypochondriac in the film, and him compared to the original Eddie, who was awful. Hopefully that kid didn't do anything else after that. This new Eddie is great, and he plays off of the other characters really well, and he's a lot of fun going on. But you're probably wondering, what about Pennywise? What about Pennywise? So Tim Curry was the original Pennywise. It's one of his most iconic roles. He's amazing at it. And then the new Pennywise is Bill Skarsgård, and he went with a different role. And I'm very in and out on him. In certain scenes, he does a really good job. In other scenes, I hate his voice. I hate how he's delivering his lines. I'm just like, ugh. It's kind of cringeworthy at times, but he overall does a good job. I would have loved to have seen Tim Curry's portrayal put into this film. I think that the biggest thing holding him back from being truly terrifying in the 1990 version was the fact that they had such a low budget, such bad writing, such bad direction, and he's the only person that actually brought everything to them on just this A+ level. And I think him being in the new It would have been really great, because he has this really fun, charming personality that flips, and he goes from wanting to be your friend to wanting to eat you extremely quick, and it's very, very well done.
Aren't you going to say hello? Oh, come on, bucko. Don't you want a balloon?
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers. My dad said so.
Very wise of your dad, Georgie. Very wise indeed. I, Georgie, am Pennywise the Dancing Clown. You are Georgie. So now we know each other. Correct?
I guess so. I gotta go.
Go? Without this?
My boat!
Exactly. Go on, kiddo. Take it. Oh. You want it, don't you, Georgie? Oh, of course you do. And there's cotton candy and rides and all sorts of surprises down here. And balloons, too. All colors.
Do they float?
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. They float. And when you're down here with me, you float too!
Bill Skarsgård, I think, is just trying to be creepy, and he does a good job. But the thing about Pennywise is he chooses the form of a clown, because originally back in the 1900s, clowns were these very like socially acceptable characters, and children loved them. And it's just really like the last 20 or like 30 years where like this like huge clown phobia has happened because of movies like this. But so his original character needed to be really charming to lure children. As Bill Skarsgård is not doing that at all in this. He's just creepy, making monsters. He's just turning himself into things, and he's killing kids basically, and that's fine too. Going from Pennywise to the direction and the tone of the film. It's creepy. It's creepy, but it's not scary. I say that as a true horror fan. I love horror movies, and I actually just watched The Conjuring 1 and 2 because I was bored like a week ago. The second one not so good. The first one was pretty solid, and in the first act you get this real sense of tension and dread and this real fear as you watch the movie. In it, I never feel that at all. There's at no point in time when they're going through the like sewers and the haunted houses and everything else. There's people going to the basement, and you have everything there that needs to be a great horror movie. The director Andy Muschietti, I think I'm saying that right. You can tell he's a fan of horror. He also filmed Mama, which is like a pretty okay movie, and so everything's there. It just doesn't come together in a way that makes you terrified. And in fact, my wife went and saw it with me, and she can't watch basic things because she's always jumping. And, she was at no point jumped and at no point felt scared. And that's saying a lot because she doesn't take a lot to scare her. I can yell boo and she'll go run out of the house. So, I mean, like, but that's not to say it's not a bad horror movie, because there's a lot of great shots. There's a lot of great, editing, cinematography, the score, it's very eerie. There's a lot of great scenes. It's just I more admired it as a film fan and appreciated all of the attention to detail. But at no point was it ever tense or stressed. And at no point did I ever feel real danger for any of the kids. That might be because I've already read the book and I don't know how things end in the first chapter, or maybe not. I mean, like, I say that because there's people also in the audience with me who were like, cracking jokes half the time. And at no point did I hear anybody gasp or yell or scream or say anything odd. I just don't think it's very terrifying. And I think that's kind of sad because I wanted to be scared so bad in this. So putting all that together, I say this movie, you should go see it. It's worth it. And while I don't think it's a great horror movie, I think it's a successful movie. And I think that it'll have a pretty nice sequel, which it's already been greenlit. So basically, this is going to be all about the children, and the next movie is going to be about all of them as adults, how they, overcame these terrible childhoods. Which in the book and the original film, it originally, there's this time lapse and it jumps back and forth, but they scrapped all that. They went all kids first, now they're going to go all adults next. And that might work out, it might not. We'll see. I'm hoping that the next film will be ramped up to 11, and it'll be truly terrifying because you can have adults doing these scenes and not kids, and maybe they can just pull off all the training wheels here. Who knows? But you should go see it. I would say it's probably like a 7 for me right now. It won't make my top 10 by the end of the year, but it won't make my disappointing list either. So that's worth something, right? All right, folks. Well, thanks for watching. Stay geekly. Until next time.